Hello guys, this is the ideal path to get an A in Anatomy and Physiology. I'm gonna tell you some simple steps in order to accomplish your homework, your lab manual, your lecture exam number 1, and your lab practical number 1. All of them are activities from your module number 1, and those activities are due on September 23rd, except for the homework number 1, which is going to be due on September the 16th. It's going to be in D2L in this section if you're AM, or in this section if you're PM. I'm going to select each of them. You have here content, and this is going to be your menu for the content. Remember, table of contents, and then you're going to have module number 1. Please go over your homework link, and then you're going to have here your instructions, your learning outcome distributions, and your Dropbox. First of all, you need to pick the instructions. Here you have some instructions and your rubric. Read carefully your rubric and follow it. The second link you need to follow is going to be the distribution. Then you need to find your name written here in red. You're going to find your name, first name, and the initial of your last name. Be sure you're going to be working only with one learning outcome. And then when you have your YouTube link ready to be delivered, you go over your Dropbox, and then you can attach here your homework. If you cannot attach your link, you can add your link to a Word document, and it's going to be the same thing. Again, I need here only your YouTube link. Here in your distribution, you have a link. This link is going to be for our YouTube channel. By the way, we have another way to reach that link, because you're going to have there some examples of the resources. You can check here your YouTube homework channel, and here you can find hundreds of examples of these homeworks. Check one of them and you're going to be able to emulate this homework. Again, guys, I only need for the homework the YouTube link. The second step is going to be your lab manual. Then you go over module number 1, and then when you find lab exam, you have here lab module number 1, exercises 1 through 10. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 exercises in only one PDF. Then if you pick this link, you're going to have your instructions here. You need to solve every labeling activity, every quiz or concept map that you have in these exercises. I'm going to show you one example of these kind of PDF, because remember, you need to deliver here just a PDF. This is one example from lab unit number 4. Then you can check here, you have labeling activities, you have quizzes, and you have concept maps. These activities should be added in only one PDF, only one file. At the end, you're going to have a whole presentation with only labeling activities, quizzes, and concept maps. For example, if you're going to work with the cardiovascular system, then I'm going to pick one image to build my presentation, and then I'm going to copy the image and going to build my presentation. And then at the end, when I have my presentation ready, I'm going to record a video about this. But if it's the lab manual, I need to identify my leveling activities from the lab manual. Again, you have 4 units. For the first one, it's going to be exercises 1 through 10. Then at the end, you're going to save this file not as a PowerPoint, but as a PDF. Again, you have to save this file as a PDF. And it's going to be all the labeling activities, all the concept maps, and all the quizzes in the same file. It's going to be just one file, just one PDF. Step number 3. In order to solve your chapter reviews, go over all the resources, and then you go over whole reviews. You have here 12 chapters. Remember, for lecture exam number 1, we're going to be regarding chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. Take advantage of this lecture exam because it's really short. It's only 53 questions, most of them multiple choice, and you have to go over every single review here, every single review chapter, and then you can go over your reviews here, over your questions, and you can go in detail in your textbook solving these questions. I'm going to be using these questions for your exam. Your lecture exam is about these questions. And finally, you're going to take your lab practical exam, and you're going to use as a resource the Biology Learning Center at Lone Star College. And this link is going to be very useful for you. Remember, your course is 2401, Anatomy and Physiology, the first one. And for this one, for this exam, I'm going to be using these slides. Terminology. At the beginning. Then you have here the images I'm going to be using for the first exam. You need to remember every single exam, and you're going to be able to use these resources during the exam. Remember, you need to use the lockdown browser, the respondents monitor. You're going to be recorded during the exam, but this exam is going to be open book. If you have these images with you, you're going to be fine for the exam. The other link, it's about cells and tissues. Remember, the first exam, the first lab practical exam is going to be exercises 1 through 10. And we're going to be working with the lab manual and these slides. For the lab practical, we're going to be working with these slides. Remember these things, guys. You need to be successful in anatomy and physiology. The first, read as an overview, scanning your chapter slides. Participate in class and reread and recheck after the class your slides again. By the way, you have 2 sets. You have 15 edition and you have 16 edition in your D12. Number 2, solve your homework. It's going to be only your YouTube video link. Solve your lab manual. Deliver just the labeling activities, the quizzes, and concept maps in only one PDF. Solve your chapter reviews. Go in detail in your textbooks. Go and take the lecture exam. And finally, check your Biology Learning Center slides and take your lab practical. Remember, for these module number 1, the due date for homework number 1 is going to be September the 16th at 11:30 p.m. And your due date for the rest of the module activities, that is for the lab manual, for the lecture exam, and the lab practical, you have until September the 23rd at 11:30 p.m. You can be successful, guys. Avoid procrastination.